How did I start it off? How did I start off? I'm gonna go. I got a child on the way. I'm just trying to get her out, make sure she don't have the life of being in the project. So I just wanted to make some money.
And mine started off simple too. Mine started off with, I just want $150,000. That was the thing in the 80s. I'm gonna get $150,000, start my own business, and that's just that.
But when I learned about facing life, right? So I'm gonna tell you that. Yes, you leave in a pine box, meaning that you leave prison when you die.
Right.
Welcome to Short Conversation. I'm your host, Too Short, and today we got some special guests: Iman, Abdul, Malik, EVB, and Vada.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Malik, introduce yourself.
Yes, Imam Abdul Malik Yates. I'm the one of the co-founders and the imam at Kankakee Masjid, often called Kankakee Islamic Center. CEO of Robin's Revitalization Initiative, and a host of other things.
All right. EVB. I'm the founder of the Tall Foundation, that's TAWL Foundation. I'm also the CEO of the 537 Corp, the author of The Art of Winning Litigation, and I'm a community activist.
Yeah. Vada, CEO, Haven House Media and Management. What I do is put together podcasts, videos, any type of media to convey messages to the community.
Right. We're going to talk about some major topics today.
Oh yeah.
Vada, you want to start the questions?
Yeah, this whole conversation right here on Short Conversation. Once again, I want to thank you, Too Short, for having us on this platform. So while you spent time locked up, how did you overcome determinism?
Okay, I came from a really family-based family. Mother, father was present. Both my parents were present. 3 sisters, my grandmother, a bunch of aunties, a couple of uncles. Our family was tight. However, we ended up moving to the projects. And that changed some of our normal family traditions, but they were still embedded in me. So going to prison was totally different. That I had to sit back and just pay attention. And over time, I was learning things about myself that I never thought about even looking at, and see how could I change? What did I do wrong? Because like our family was strong together, but I looked at it like I'm getting on phone calls. They talking about, oh, you messed me up. You left me out here to defend for myself. I got to go get a job. That struck me. Like, I'm the one doing this time. How did I mess you up? I'm the one messed up. But over time, I realized I did. Left them to defend for themselves, and plus my kids. So always been like a two-sided person. I separated family from the streets life. When I'm out in the streets, family can't come around me. So when I'm with my
now? They don't do that now. Huh?
No, they don't do that.
Right.
They don't do that.
Yeah.
So when I'm with my family, the streets ain't coming around.
Yeah.
So doing that, when I'm with my family, we spending time together, enjoy watching TV and stuff like that. When I'm out in the streets, I'm flashy. I was real flashy. You know, but I made sure family was first. I made sure they had a house to stay in, bills were paid, everything was good. But on the other side, I changed the way we was normally going because I separated them from the streets. If I'm out in the streets, y'all can't be out here. So that changed what our family structure was really about.
Damn.
And the decisions that I made in the streets was, I just thought about it probably within the last year. I'm sitting up here writing my book and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, how did I start it off? How did I start off? I'm in one go. I got a child on the way. I'm just trying to get her out, make sure she don't have the life of being in the projects. So I just wanted to make some money.
For one simple thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, your story kind of surprised me because I wasn't expecting that. Because I had both my parents. I went to Catholic school as a young. Went from lower middle class to upper middle class. Wasn't raised in the hood, right? But ended up selling drugs in the hood and being in the hood, being fascinated by that. And it got me a life sentence. And mine started off simple too. Mine started off with, I just want $150,000. That was what the thing in the 80s. I'm gonna get $150,000, start my own business, and that's just that. But when you get into that lifestyle, it comes with the energy, and it comes with the culture, it comes with the mindset. And once it gets a hold of you, you can kind of shake it. And like genetically, like trying to overcome some of the things. Like my family, my dad worked for the government, was working for the State Department, right? He was a minority, so he didn't overlook for his jobs, right? And he was taking all his money to get us away from Northeast DC into Maryland, into schools, working 2 and 3 jobs. So it might look like a certain thing from the outside. Inside, it was totally different. My dad lived in the same house as me, and I don't see him because he always worked. So my father was in the house and was absent to me growing up for things that and genetically having those predispositions that my dad had, that my grandfather had, because he was out there. My grandfather was a Rolling Stone. He was out there. And a lot of people know him in South. His name was T-Van, and he was just out there. And having those that whole genetic disposition, I had to overcome while I was in the street. I had to overcome some of the things that my dad figured out, and he taught me, but I rejected. But I believe overcoming that is what saved me a lot of times in the streets.
Wow.
Me, slightly different. I was raised in a household where my mama, period. Dad was a heroin addict. Every now and again he came around. He was a cold-blooded jokester. Cold-blooded. Every time he came around, he was either joke. Then I had this older uncle that he would always tell jokes to right there while I was sitting there. He'd come around occasionally, not a lot. But when he did, he would drop a jewel, and it's crazy because he'd drop it with a joke. Like one time he came to the house and my mama said, "You know that boy, he hanging with so and so and so and so them." I'm 13. You know what I'm saying? I started, "Hey man, it's time to, nigga." You know what I'm saying? So he pretended to be dad at this time. He come in the bedroom with me, like, "Yeah, man, I'm your mom's," and he high.
Right.
He blow.
Right.
He said, "Man, yeah, your mom say you're hanging out with, so and so and so and so," and them. And I looked at him, you know what I'm saying, trying to play like I'm, this almighty big stud. I was 13. I said, "Yeah, man, it is what it is, man. Only the strong survive." This is what I tell him. Right. He bust out laughing. He bust out laughing. And he said, yeah, but only the smart live long enough to tell about it. I live by that.
Damn.
I live by that. Definitely my mother and my grandmother, aunties, and all them, these was church going people, educated and everything. So definitely I had that background. You know what I'm saying? So, but those little bitty pieces of information like that, only the smart live long enough to tell about it. At a young age, I pondered on that, right? Even in the streets, I pondered on that. I used to see guys my age, you know what I'm saying, doing certain things, stealing cars, robbing it. No, I'm not gonna do that, boy. You know, as a result of
Right.
Now, did I do my little 1-2?
Right.
Yeah, I did my little 1-2. But with that mind, you gotta be smart when you do this, when you do your little 1-2. There's a number of men in my family. My uncles, I got three uncles, one of them died. Right? And I mimicked them. All three of them. Like one of my uncles, he went to the military, went to college. I went to the military, I went to the college, follow him. Another one of my uncles, you know what I'm saying, in high school, he played football, wrestled, and did all that stuff. I did the same thing he did. When he went into the streets, I went into the streets. So I'm mimicking I did every single thing that my uncles did, including when my uncle went into the streets, he went into the street. And he played at a high level, I played at a high level. You know what I'm saying? So
I think people dismiss the fact that when I say, you seen it in Godfather, he got a temper like his father, right? Genetic, right? It's genetic. And for minorities, they're told by other minorities, oh, you can't use that as a reason why. You can't use the fact that because your family is prone to alcoholism that you are alcoholic. Or your family is prone to emotional breakdowns or something. You're not. Because that's all, that's valid. Right?
It's all genetic.
It's genetic, right? And yeah, and to your point, I think we don't have any other choice but to recognize that. Right? So if I know genetically I'm made up a certain way, right? I see it in my grandson. Yeah. My grandson is me. So my grandson can't get nothing over on me, right? You can't tell me nothing, Jack, because you me. Yeah. All your genetic flaws, and I see them, I'm looking at them, and I'm like, I got to correct this, man, because I knew I had to correct it, because I don't want him to end up going through the journey that I went through. Right? So genetically, I don't think it's... So to answer your question, I think it's kind of... I think first we have to, as a community, embrace the fact that there is a such thing as genetic determinism, that we are genetically predisposed to act certain ways, and then just learn how to overcome it. You know? So I don't think so. So trying not to be, I don't want to be like, everybody. I don't want to be like my father. I don't want to be like, you ain't got no choice, Jack.
Right.
You know what I mean? You really don't have no choice, but you do have a choice.
Yeah. Right.
You do have you can make decisions that take you from that. So that's my answer.
Yeah.
And I agree with the same thing. Like my father was laid back, quiet, funny. I got all those from him. But the only thing, we didn't have a lot of males in our family. My family was basically a bunch of females. Bunch. So, like I say, I only got two uncles. Well, three uncles. My father had one brother. Wow. My mother got two brothers. So only three uncles and my father. My father worked, and he made sure he paid the bills and stuff like that. I picked that up from him. I learned that from him. But he was working a normal job. I didn't see that in my path.
Neither did I. Man, I couldn't. I was like,
can I just make a quick point?
Yeah.
That's cold-blooded that people or society do that. When the evidence with regards to, what's the terminology you use?
Genetic
determination. It's a legitimate term. And it's based on science.
Yes.
Yeah. Legitimate science, including another term that they use, and they just started using within the last 20 years, is epigenetics. Epigenetics is when a person experiences some type of trauma, that trauma alters the way your genes express themselves. Right?
Sheesh.
And those the new change in the expression of the genes, you pass that down to your kids. Right. So you become predisposed to certain things as a result of your parents. Right. So this is a real thing. Now, when you put it on the table, like in our case, going to the penitentiary, going to jail, going to the court system, You can't use that or you can't say that. But science said it. Right. Science said that this is exactly what's going on within me. You know, now, and absolutely, and also like you said, you can't change it, but you can. How you change that? What I've learned is right here. Right. You start putting information right here because now you got information here now where you can override those urges to do certain things that's embedded in you. That's in you. That intelligence give you the pros and the cons in regards to a particular action. Right. You know, if you do it, this is gonna happen. If you don't do, it gives you the pros and the cons, the information. Yeah. Like a person is addicted to a drug or something, or have a behavioral addiction. Right. Like what a particular scientist said this. A psychologist said it's not so much as you weaken the addiction, and the same thing would come to behavior. It's not so much as you weaken the addiction or the parts of the brain responsible for the addiction. It's that you strengthen the part of the brain to allow you to override it. To override There's a part of the brain called the lateral dorsal prefrontal cortex. That part of the brain is we talking about the kid don't develop until the person is about 26, 27. Right. He says you strengthen that part of the brain to say don't do it because this will happen. Right. And if you don't do it, then you have all these good things, your money, your job, you said your family, blah, 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 blah. Right? So you strengthen that, the override was already naturally embedded in you. Right. It's crazy that when it comes to somebody like us, you can't blame that on that. You can't say this, you can't say that. Right. But when it's somebody else, we ain't pushing the race card, but when it's somebody else, he's suffering from attention deficit disorder. He has bipolar issues, and he has
That's legit.
Yeah.
Those are legit issues. Legit mental issues.
But we can't put that legitimacy. We can't put those legit issues on the table.
I would get angry. You wouldn't know why I was angry, and I was taught you couldn't get angry. You couldn't get angry. That wasn't Christian to get angry. It wasn't right. You had no self-control. Nothing. And then when I started playing sports, and when I got angry, I played better. So as a little kid, I'm like, hold up. Wow. This is so bad.
It works for you.
How can I execute this in this manner? So it wasn't until I took anger management that I actually learned that it's all right to be angry.
Information.
Yep.
That information.
Yeah. That's all right to be angry.
Yeah.
It's just your response to that anger.
Yeah.
And they teach you how to first identify why you're angry, right? That's what they teach you. First identify why you're angry, then that's why you're angry. You're really angry because it's not because what he did to you, it's because you trusted him. You know what I mean? That's why I'm angry. So when I start understanding that it's okay, then I start understanding how I can use my anger to benefit. Then what's crazy to your point, and y'all seen this in the Marvel comics, the Hulk, when he was, remember that? This is when he's a scientist, and he's not the angry Hulk, right? And they asked him, how can we tame you? And he's saying, I'm always angry. And
wow,
that's the Hulk. He's always angry. And when he said that, it was crazy that it's a movie about a fictional character, but I was just like, man, I'm glad somebody said that. You know what I mean? Because it's not that I'm unhappy, but I had to deal with my anger. And it was so many other guys, we was in the streets, that were angry. And my anger overboiled, and it's a natural response. When I'm angry, Too Short gonna automatically get angry.
Yeah.
After Malik, automatically get angry.
Yeah.
And now it's just like two rams butting heads. So the streets taught me to actually have to, you got to deal with this anger, bro. Because everybody that gets angry, they end up somewhere. Yeah. They either end up in the penitentiary for a long time, and they usually get killed in the penitentiary, or they get 6 feet deep. But you're going to die. You get what I'm saying? But I was never taught, and I see so many little kids right now who are angry, who don't know how to deal with their anger because people tell them that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like I tell my kids now, I say, be careful what y'all do, because your daddy got an addictive personality. That came from your granddaddy.
Yeah.
He's a junkie. He was a junkie. He's an addict. It's in me. Right? So me understanding that and knowing that, make sure I don't do no drugs. I ain't doing no drugs. If I do, I may very well become. Yeah, I ain't. So stay away from that. Make sure you don't drink, because, boy, you know, your pops, you'll get, so I stay away from that.
Yeah.
I took a lot of shortcuts,
Okay.
right? Prior to it being incarcerated. A lot of shortcuts, even in college, shortcuts. Military, shortcuts. In the streets, shortcuts. I took shortcuts, man. I took a lot of shortcuts.
Right.
Still taking shortcuts.
Hey,
Yeah, dear.
Speaking from Too Short himself, he can identify those shortcuts, right?
hey. So, but when I went to the penitentiary,
Yeah.
right, learning that, dude, you facing life. Because at first I didn't know.
Ain't no shortcut about
They
that.
said, didn't know.
Did you
You
know
face-
Did you face a life?
No, see, I went on.
Yeah,
I
he
went
was
on
on the run.
I went on the
He was
run
on the
for
run for-
almost 3 years, and I didn't hear damn one of them getting convicted. They were found convicted at the time,
Guilty.
but nobody got their sentence.
Yeah.
Right.
As soon as I get caught, they get their sentence, and I hear all these life sentences.
Yeah, because I didn't know. But when I learned about you facing life, right? So I'm gonna tell you that,
With no parole.
yes, you leave in a pine box, meaning that when you leave prison when you die.
Right.
And they gave me 4 of them and a whole bunch of 20s and a whole bunch of other stuff. But so coming to prison, hearing that, learning that, right? No, I got to figure out how that to prevent that. And if it happens, I got to figure out how to come from under that. I'm not dying in the penitentiary. So, like you did, me and the law library became, boy, that was like the club, the law library. The law library. And realized, listen, been to the military, been to several different schools, right? After high school, I learned that I couldn't read. Taking shortcuts. Now, I can read, right? But one of the things that they don't emphasize is reading and comprehension.
And comprehension. Yes.
So you might be able to read the words that sound good.
Yeah.
So I went to the penitentiary, and now I need to learn exactly, okay, what life, I need to learn exactly why I'm facing life. The indictment, boom. And talk to a few individuals that's already incarcerated. They direct me, man, you need to go to the law library and talk to so-and-so and so-and-so.
Damn, and reading that docket is not like reading a regular book.
No, it ain't. So so-and-so and so-and-so say, man, go get this book and put this book. I'm finna show you what this 848 is. So I open the book, get to read the first paragraph, try to ponder on it. What did I just read?
Facts.
I don't have a clue.
Black's law is different.
But the regular federal law it's regular English. Now you have some Latin phrases. Not study Latin too.
Right.
Some Latin phrases, but for the most part it's English. And I'm reading a paragraph like, okay, let me ponder on read that again. Read it again. I can't read. Ain't no comprehension. I can't comprehend it. So understanding this and don't want to go to the penitentiary for the rest of my life.
Right.
No, but I got to force myself.
Yeah.
I got to force feed. I got to get this. I cover up everything on that page, man, until I got that paragraph.
Yeah.
That only paragraph. And it ain't just so that I can learn the statute. It's so that I can learn how to read.
Right,
I need to really understand what this statute, what this is saying.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it's saying. So that right there forced me. Stop taking shortcuts, dude. You can't take no shortcut in and get out this situation. Because this ain't the state. This ain't, you know what I'm saying, somebody in the neighborhood. This is something way bigger than you, Jack. So you got to buckle down. And like you did, like we both did, stayed in the law library. Law library was our home. So that right there, being in the law library every single day, 7 days a week. Like when we first got locked up, I got 3 hours of sleep every day. That's it. The other hours I was up studying law. But back to my point. Yeah, I took a lot of shortcuts in life, but when I went to the penitentiary, shortcuts, it was over with. If you want to go home, dude, you can't take no state. They ain't. If you put that motion in front of that judge, he ain't trying to. If you took shortcuts, you didn't do your research, you didn't write it right, you skipped the word, or you didn't put the right word, you can't do that. You cannot do that.
As the saying go, you can't fix a shortcut in the long run.
That's deep.
Let me speak on the part. I'm gonna come back to that part too, but let me speak on the part of controlling your anger.
Yeah.
Anger is good. However, it's bad to allow it to show. if you already angry and then I'm angry, but I allow you to see it, our anger gonna make both of us go up more.
Yeah.
So I learned to control mine.
Yeah.
Like even when the judge told me life sentence and 5 years probation, I smiled at him. I'm like, could I do the 5 years probation? Could I do the 5 years probation first?
You said that?
Yes.
Because I wanted, because the judge told me, he gave me a life sentence. He said, where you want to do it at? And I froze. Everybody in the courtroom was like, they was crying. Like the marshal was crying. I was like, when I went back to the what's name, I sat down, I should have said, I wanted to do it at your house. You know what I'm saying? Where I want to do it at your house. That's what I want to do life at. I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
So even now, while in prison and everything,
Yeah.
I'm a smile. You
Right.
would never know I'm angry or
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
Now I it's certain times where if a person keep going, and I'm afraid of myself getting angry, because I blanks out. So I gotta learn to control it, smile, laugh,
I've
whatever.
seen that too.
He mentioned this to me, earlier today in the casual conversation, and he was telling me that the way you handle situations in the streets is totally different than how you handle situations when you locked up. And you said it was severe consequences, like temper. You going at somebody, right? Because they might have violated you in some way, right? Right. So being locked up, did that help you with your temper?
I think I end up getting it once I really got involved with the street life.
Okay. So it's prior
That
to.
was a part of me
Structure.
getting to pay attention to it, to feed it,
Yeah.
to know when to, hey, that was said, leave that alone.
Yeah.
You don't have to respond to everything, no matter what's been said or who's saying it.
Was it the structure like he said, like you was telling me,
Yeah,
like
structure.
so, and you was saying this, and it's a good point because it's a difference between when I came up in DC than it was when you guys came up in Chicago.
Correct.
Right. One thing I marveled at was that you guys had a whole lot more structure
Correct.
than people in the streets in DC.
Correct.
It was just in DC. It was kind of like this guy right here runs the block. You do what he say. If you want to get some money, he sets the rules. If you get out of line, you get whacked, and that's just that. But you guys, it was more of a structure. So is that what helped you? Kind of like you know what I'm saying? Because it was consequences to your anger.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Community structure, meaning we had certain things in play where you got to go to school, ain't no stealing, don't be disrespecting old elder people.
Right.
It's community stuff that better the community, but better for us.
Right.
And so you learn that part, and then certain things maybe come down that you disagree with.
Right.
But it don't make no sense for you to sit up there like, no, I ain't doing that. There's consequences behind that. You got to have something in play where know the consequences.
Yeah.
Don't jump out there and it's consequences behind it. Whether it's gonna be good for you or bad for you. It can turn out good for you at that time, but then it may be good at that time.
But later on.
A year later, you may be serving 20, 30 years.
Right.
You may think you got out of this, but you put yourself in another one.